dear Thầy, dear friends. So tonight I will try to complete part 2 of my two-part presentation on the mental formations. The part 2 will be dedicated mostly on manas. As we have seen last time, manas represents the seventh consciousness. And it arises from store consciousness, and it grasps onto store consciousness like a small child clinging to the skirt of his or her mother. And manas is like the store consciousness. It also works day and night, non-stopping. Even when we sleep, manas still continues to operate. And most of the time, manas perceive things wrong because of its view of a separate self. Separate entity. And in reality, we know that we depend on a lot of other things to exist. But manas is, this is me. Our ego was created with the formation of the seventh consciousness. And it also represents a source of what they call tremendous energy, but it's not a good energy, such as habit energy, such as delusion, such as craving. All these energies are being considered as manas. So it's a bit vague, but it's how the patriarch of the 50 works manifestation of the mind school come to assess and confirm the existence of manas. And if you take the book written by Thầy on the 50 works, manas is well explained between the verse 16 and verse 22. So it's quite a good chapter in the book about manas. So let me go to the next slide. My movie. So this one has been shown last time, but in a less complicated way. Here you can see the contact between the six sense bases and the six sense objects. The result in the planting and the watering of the seeds in the stored consciousness, such as attachment, anger, despair, craving, hatred, mindfulness, joy, love, etc. The seed may grow to become more important if the same kind of contacts continue to exist. For instance, I talked about the winter coat last time that attracted my attention. And if I continue to pass in front of the shop daily or weekly, the image has the power to water. The attraction continue to water my craving or my desire to buy the coat. So those formations within me being watered or planted is called internal formation. It's like someone said something that hurt your feeling. It's form a grudge within yourself. And if you don't pay attention, and if this harassment continues, wherever it could be verbal harassment, emotional harassment, or repeated we can call it threat, the grudge grows. And the internal formation in Sanskrit is called samyojana. So the strength of our internal formation pulls us into a direction, driving us. The craving of the winter coat drove me to come back to the shop. And I bought it. So that was called the volitional force. The kind of energy, as I said, that determines our life direction. So you have to be careful. It could be a passion, a good passion in your life, but it could be also something that drive you into a wrong direction. Like falling in love could be excellent if it is protecting with wholesome beauty and truth. But it could be sometime, like we used to say in French Canadian, it could be hell. And they pronounce it like, c'est l'enfer, the way how they pronounce it in French Canadian. C'est l'enfer. I love it. So manas grasp onto the stored consciousness and create a self, a separate entity. This is me. And it continues to do the thinking, believing, grasping, calculating, everything to maintain the stored consciousness as its object, but also as a separate entity. And this type of work is called, in Buddhist term, mentation. Mentation. Manana in Sanskrit. So let us go to the next one. The 5 particulars. Besides the 5 universal that operates everywhere, as we said last time, in all the 8 consciousness, the 5 particulars are the mental formation that are not found at all times in every consciousness. But for manas, it is, how can I say, inherent to the operation of manas. First, you have the desire to act. The term that Thầy used is zeal, en français, zèle. Intention. You are drawn to look at something. Like me, I was drawn to look at the winter coat and to know about it and to be interested in it. You want to touch it, you want to put it on your body, feel warm. Really, a desire to act. And then come determination, which is more considered as discernment. You think you have recognized the object. You form an idea of it. I believe I know very well the winter coat I saw. I believe that I have a good eye, good measuring mind to know this is perfect for me. So that's the kind of determination. And the third is mindfulness. In this context, means that the object of your attention has come to exist in the here and now for you. You see it, you taste it, you recall it as it is real. I can feel it. Like how you call it, the goose, Canadian goose, the brand of the coat. It's made in Canada. So good, you know. So I'm mindful of that. And then I develop a kind of concentration which is I focus my attention on that object. And then I develop an insight. This is not the right insight. This is not the wisdom like prajna. This is a wisdom, Thầy suggested to you the word mati and not prajna. Prajna is really a kind of good wisdom. This wisdom is a bit blind. I can fall on a wrong winter coat. I don't know. My perception is not perfect. So I have a certain insight into what I'm going to buy, but this is not the kind of wisdom that is, you know, to be applauded. We have to be careful because it's governed by manas. It is not very objective, it is subjective. There's the me in that. And sometimes we grasp onto that and we think we are right. We think that our perception is right. We think that our wisdom is like the nail on the wall. There was a story in Buddhist, how you call it, parable. And there was a story about a businessman who went away for a few days to do his business work. And during his absence, the bandits came to his house, took things and burned his house. When he came back home, he was sure that his son was burned to death. He was sure of it. So he took, how you call the ashes, and he formed a little box. He put onto his shoulder and he carries that everywhere he goes, believing that his son was dead. But the bandits took his son. And one day the son escaped and came home. So the son knocked at the door. "Dad, open the door. I am back." And the father cannot believe it. He stick to his perception, belief, and he said, "You are not my son, go away. My son is dead. Go away. Dad, it's me. No, it's impossible. Don't play this game with me, go away." So by grasping onto his perception that he was sure that it was the right one, the truth, he just lost his son. And that's the story about when we are too sure about our perception. That's why Thầy suggested that we always have to ask, "Are you sure?" "No, I'm not too sure." So the verse 20 is the verse that contains almost everything regarding manas. Manas go with the five universal for sure, with Mati of the five particulars we just saw, and with the four major and 8 secondary afflictions. All are indeterminate and obscure. Indeterminate, obscure is not a good news, but indeterminate could be good news because that opens the door to a possibility of transformation. Because if it's not indeterminate, there will be no hope to transform. And going up to the next one to see what are they, the 4 major afflictions associated with manas. Self-ignorance. That is the wrong idea of the self. Such as the belief that I am this body, I am this feeling, I am this perception. Things that are not this body, this feeling, this perception are not me. Things that happen to others are no concern to me. This is wrong thinking or ignorance, self-ignorance. But we do know, in fact, that what we call I is linked to everything else in the universe. Without the air, without the food, without everything, I will not be able to exist. Self-view is the false view that the self is independent and eternal, that it exists apart from the other factors, apart from the other factors of existence. We think we are a separate entity. And then self-pride is that kind of attitude that we are better, more intelligent, more beautiful, and more important than others. That is the wrong pride. When I was in Quebec, part of my student life, they use a lot the word pride, proud. You must be proud. Faut que tu sois fier, man, they told me. And I think that's beautiful, to develop some self-esteem and be proud of what you do. It's important for your development and growth as a human being, right? But if you are too proud, it's not too good. They said also that if you are too proud, it's a bad sign. They say in French Canadian, ils sont trop fiers des autres. They are too proud of themselves. So that could be an obstacle. Self-love is when we love ourselves excessively, when everything we say, do, or think shows how caught up with ourselves we are. Sometimes we need a certain degree of self-love to protect ourselves. But excessively is not too good. We become very selfish. So the four major afflictions are always present in manas. Our practice is to shine the light on manas so that it can release its belief in the self. That's why we recite the Heart Sutra. The Heart Sutras tell us all the time that nothing is a separate entity. No separate entity. Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara, while contemplating on the five skandhas and see all of them are empty, she becomes enlightened. Empty means depending on other things to exist. So we all need others to survive. We can be existing alone in this world. We need the Sangha, we need friends, we need Thầy, we need the Buddha. And the next one is the 8 primary. Afflictions. Let me move that away. You have anger, enmity, concealment, maliciousness, jealousy, selfishness, fraud, and deceit. So I will leave you to dig more into that with your own homework and study. We all have a little bit of all that, but sometimes, thanks to the practice, we recognize and we correct ourselves, and we hope to do better the next time. Maliciousness, la malveillance. I remember I grew up in a small village in Vietnam. I was maybe 8 or 9 years old. And it's unbelievable how, even at that age, it has already a form of violence. We, from the district close to the city, we fought against the young ones from the district far in the village, and we used a slingshot. 8 years old, and the slingshot we use the clay. So if it is just clay, it doesn't really hurt. But some people, they put broken piece of glass into that, and then malveillance, maliciousness. And I was part of it. One day I was in my class. The school is how you call it, a village school, primary school. The roof was made with la paille, how you call it. Like grass, you know. And there was a family of snakes going in the ceiling among the roof. Then, 8 years old, I took a slingshot. Slack. One snake fell down onto the floor of the class. Everybody ran away. The class were dismissed. We have a day off. Bad. You see how we were when we don't have parents also teach and do a lot of surveillance, but how come we came to this point? Anyway, nobody was hurt, fortunately. But la malveillance, maliciousness, could be something we have to be careful. Fraud, la tromperie. There are all kinds of tromperie. One day a guy came to my door and he said he had to participate in a marathon to collect money for his son who suffered from cancer, blood cancer. So he showed me the badge. He was very well dressed. And I was so moved. I said, yeah, stay here. I will go up and look for money. And I donate $20 for his marathon. The guy disappeared. I never saw him. And all in a sudden, because in the district where I live, we have a group email, Neighbor Watch. And someone said, I just lost $20. Be careful with this guy. And then my friend up to the street also, she gave $20. So the guy was playing so well, and you are moved by listening to him. So that is called la tromperie, dishonesty, fraud. Right now we have one of the biggest fraud that is being in the New York court. We all know that, yeah? We don't know the outcome yet, but that's how people are. So I am clearing it off here, and with my deep bow, thanking to you all for your presence and your listening. I will just stop the sharing